My name is Jeremy Lachlan, and this podcast is brought to you by my company, Momentum Worldwide Movers. We focus on providing tailor made solutions to match the specific requirements of each customer, since every move is unique. Alberto has been a good friend of mine for more than 10 years. He is highly respected in the Tokyo musician community. He currently resides in Japan and works as a professional guitar player, as an instructor at some well-known international schools. He also gives lessons at his studio in Oimachi. Alberto's passion for music shows in his mastery of melodic composition and in his live performances on stage. All right, Alberto, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
So let's dive straight into the music. So you started learning music at the age of 5, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to a British school in the Canary Islands in Tenerife. It's called Hispano-Ingles.
Mm-hmm.
And I started lessons there when I was 5 years old. Basically, it was very, what do you teach a 5-year-old, right? So I was learning notes, a little bit of Electone. I don't know if you know Electone. It's like a keyboard with two keyboards and pedals.
Okay.
So I started learning that and a little bit of piano with the school teacher at that time.
Was that what you wanted to get into? Or did you always know from a very young age that you wanted to get into the guitar?
It wasn't, it was my parents, obviously, right? That we got this little Casio keyboard that I think everybody had at home at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to watch a movie. I think it was The Never Ending Story.
Yeah.
And when we came back,
Mm-hmm.
I started playing with the keyboard. I mean, I was maybe 3-4 years old at that time, and I started playing the melody of that song.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents were, wait 1 second, that sounds like the soundtrack of the movie, right? So maybe he has some talent. Let's take him to the school and check it out, right?
Okay.
And when you move into the school, you are 5. So it was at that time where I started taking lessons, and the teacher told my parents that it was easy for me to do it. I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it very much, and I just kept doing it until now.
Okay. But where did the guitar come in?
The guitar I was a little bit older. I think I played piano and Electone until I was 17. But somehow, somewhere in between, a friend of mine called Raul, he played guitar. And and I used to go to his house and fiddle with it a little bit, right? And play a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't play anything. And I started getting interested in it. But when I told my parents I want to play guitar, it was like it wasn't a popular idea, because I already played piano and Electone. And for them it was like, yeah, we play it if you want, right?
Mm-hmm. So the outlook was to keep playing the piano, or to stay.
I actually,
in that
I had a time in my life when I was like between 5 to 12 that I was practicing Electone every day, piano every day. My parents had to stop me to get me to do the homework, right? So I would just play all day. I was super into it. And then after a certain age, I just kind of stopped. I played sometimes. I wasn't that interested. And then the guitar came in, and I was really, I was really curious about it, and I was really fascinated by it. One of the things that fascinated me was you can grab it anytime and just sit down and play, right?
Yeah.
An Electron, you have to go move the chair seat, turn it on, right? Which is not that bad if you're at home, but if you're moving around.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I started playing guitar, learning by myself.
Okay. So when did the music officially become a career move for you?
I think I did my first paid gig when I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
After I started playing guitar, I started taking lessons with Lorenzo Suarez. He had like an old house with many rooms where we will sit in different rooms, and he will come teach you something, move to the next room, right? It's not the teaching I do now,
mm-hmm.
right? But it was very entertaining, and it's good to get started. And then I kept working with him. We became friends. I grew up, and I think, yeah, 17 years old, I played my first paid gig. But at the same time, I was working with my parents that unfortunately at that time had lost their jobs. So
Okay.
they started a new venture. So my father asked me for a little bit of help. And of course, I was very happy to help
Yeah.
them.
So you eventually made it to the west coast of the U.S., right? Um, right. It was L.A. and San Diego, I think,
I was
Yeah.
in California mainly,
mainly in California.
yeah.
So
But I did tours around and gigs here and there.
okay. So you were mostly doing gigs.
Yeah, I went there. So if you don't mind me, making a little bit of an extended story. So I was, as I said, I was helping my parents in their business,
Mm-hmm.
which was real estate,
Yeah.
and saving as much money as I could to be able to go to the States. But, mainly I was thinking to stay there with my parents. But at some point, I started thinking a little bit about what am I going to do with my life? Is this really what I want to do? So I decided to go to study in Los Angeles, and it was kind of a shock for my parents when I told them, and I did go, and I never went back. Actually, in 2000, I went in 2006. 2008 was the Lehman shock,
Mm-hmm.
so the company wasn't doing that well, anyways, right?
Yeah.
And they were about to retire, anyways, as well.
Right. But
So yeah, ended up in the West Coast,
Yeah.
and I went to music school there, which
Mhm.
was the Musicians Institute.
Okay.
It's this famous school in Los Angeles, and yeah, I just made it there. Did the entrance exam, and
Mm-hmm.
that's it. And then lived there for almost 4 years.
And you had some success then if you were there for about 4 years. Yeah.
I'm not not really I wouldn't say success. If you mean making a good living of music, yeah, I was all right.
Mhm.
I had rough times,
Yeah.
especially at first. I was to help paying for my tuition. I was working in a pizza joint,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
And I was doing I was playing with 7 bands at the same time,
Yeah.
managing rehearsals, gigs, and everything. And then I started getting better gigs,
Mhm.
and yeah, I was all right. I was doing so well that I was actually thinking to get an artist visa and stay there.
Mhm.
But yeah, finally didn't work out.
Right. But you came to Japan, right? So
Yes.
you decided to leave that behind in the West Coast, and then come over here. So what was the catalyst for that?
I met a Japanese woman, which is actually
Okay.
my wife,
Mhm.
Yukiko, and we were neighbors there. We started dating um, casually, and then finally we went to live together. We started living together, and yeah, I basically went back to the Canary Islands for 4 months, and I thought, what is my next step, right? So she was telling me to come here to Japan. I was thinking to apply for an artist visa. I already talked to the lawyer and everything,
Mhm.
and so she came to visit to the Canary Islands, and I thought, like, I'd rather be. I'm gonna be a musician anyways, so let's try Japan. So I proposed her there. She became my fiancée, and then I moved here to Tokyo in 2009, 10. I think it was 9 March.
Yeah.
Imagine my parents, right? They're recovering from the shock of me telling them that I'm going to the States,
Mhm.
and now I'm going to Japan.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah.
my father was like, go whatever you want, but I want you back at 10.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it is, right? So when I met you, like I know you as a musician, right? So we met. I think it was at somebody's gig,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we were smoking, like in the smoking area, like in between sets or something like that. So I've always known you as as like a musician, right? Whereas
Mm-hmm.
like as a performer, I should say. But you actually you teach your main revenue comes from teaching,
At the
not
moment, yes.
not performing, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's up and down, but at the
Okay.
moment, yes.
So I knew that you taught guitar privately, but I did not know that you taught like in schools as well.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell me first of all like what it's like to teach students privately in Japan, mainly to the Japanese, because I think that would be interesting to know.
Okay. So when I came to Japan, I lived in a small town in Shinagawa called Oimachi. In my father-in-law's house, when I first arrived, he had a big house. He was happy to have us over, and it was very nice. And I started teaching out of Craigslist. I just put ads in Craigslist. There are other websites. I'm not gonna mention. I don't know if it's appropriate to mention or not, but I will just post advertising ads in different platforms, and I got like 40 students coming weekly to my house.
Okay.
I wasn't charging much, right? But I just came to Japan. I had nothing. I had to start somewhere, and of course, I was doing gigs at night. Sometimes these gigs require me to be awake all night because it will be in places that are open. Maybe Roppongi, or you have to stay until after the last train, or you have to come with the first train. And it was kind of tiring, and teaching was kind of easy. Just sit there, people come in, right? And I started teaching like everyone else teaches, right? What do you want to learn today? I want to learn a Stairway to Heaven. Okay, so let's do it. Oh, I brought the tap, right? And I lost my motivation in like a couple of years. I couldn't do that anymore. And I think it was 2009, 2011, there was an earthquake in Japan, right? And for safety and for my family's concern, my wife and I decided to move to Osaka for a few weeks because there was a nuclear reactor, Fukushima, right?
Oh yes, yeah. I was here for that. Yeah.
So I basically moved to Osaka for a few weeks, and then at that time I told my wife, like I don't know, I think I'm gonna change the way I teach.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a method, right?
Yeah.
And teach the way I want to teach, and whoever comes. And if I don't have students, if I have a few, at least I'm doing what I want. And she said, "Well, do it, but please have more than a few."
Right.
Right. So I came back to our house in Oimachi. I made a method that I really believe on, and I started using that, and 75% of the students quit.
Yeah.
Right.
Why is that?
Because it's based on things that a guitar lesson for some people is not that serious. They use it as a distraction. It's a kind of therapy thing. I go there, I learn something I like, I go home, I practice it, and that's it. That's what they want. And it's totally fine. Totally fine if you're an adult. You can have lessons for that. I would just say, don't spend too much money on that.
Yeah.
But if you do it, it's fine. You go there, you talk to the teacher, you have a good time because you're doing something you like, but you're not doing it seriously. But I wasn't interested in doing that.
Right.
Also, I think it helped that I was working at that time for Ken Takagi at a school called Life Jam, and I was teaching kids, so I could see what they need. I could see what they were supposed to be doing, and they were sometimes doing it, sometimes not doing it.
Okay.
And that motivated me to, keep improving my system, my method, and people just want to have the lesson they expect they're gonna have, right? Especially adults. Kids, they don't have expectations, right? Unless they want the expectations that the parents put in the kid, right? But adults, they show up to the lesson thinking you're gonna do certain things, and when you don't do them, they're, this is not very good. Maybe it's not a good teacher, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you must have had some difficult and or eccentric students, right?
Oh,
in
yeah.
your career, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you recall any that's worth mentioning?
Oof, I don't know if I should. We have some. I had a little bit of everything. I always remember two of them. The first one was, he's contacted me through email. He said he can play really well. He sent me a video. I saw it. It's all right. He was playing a Guns N' Roses song. And then he came to my house, and I asked him to play the pentatonic scale, major pentatonic scale, in as many positions as he could. Right? Totally something very, very, very normal, especially when he sells himself as an advanced player, which is fine. And he couldn't. He actually played the wrong scale. He played the minor pentatonic. Right? Well, major, minor, pentatonic, we'll talk about that in another podcast.
Yes, please.
Because his pentatonic is actually mono, right? But anyway, so major pentatonic, and he played the minor pentatonic, and I said, well, no, it's okay. Let's start from the beginning. Let's start. And he said, from the beginning. What do you mean from the beginning? No, from the. And he's looking around. And he said, where is there a camera hidden? And I'm like, no. And he never came back, obviously, right? And the other one was a Japanese student. I contacted him on the phone, sent him everything. I normally had like already made emails that you send them, where you have the conditions, payment, everything, right? Because imagine, right? We're not a hairdresser. If you come to my house and I have to collect the money every time you come, how do I do my taxes? How do I do everything, right? I basically charge at the beginning of the month. I charge all the lessons that you're gonna take. And if you want to cancel, it has to be 24 or 48 hours before. I don't remember what policy I had at that time. Considering at that time the lessons were dirt cheap. We're talking about 3,000 yen, 2,500 yen.
Yeah.
And this guy came in, and I started talking I picked him up at the station, went home. Everything is fine. Until I mentioned that, I mentioned that I told him, like, if you are not going to come to the lesson, please notify me before. I'm very flexible. So if one day you miss one lesson, I'm not going to take your money. But if you keep doing it repeatedly, I will start taking your money, because, I can't live like that, right? And he screamed like, no. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what do you mean? No, I'm not paying. You are not taking my money. If I come, you come. If I come, I pay. Mm-hmm. If I don't come, I don't pay. No, it doesn't work that way. I'm sorry.
Right.
It's not my fault that your job is this sad. Something like that, he said, right?
Really?
And I was like, well, it's time for you to leave. Mm-hmm. And then I kicked him out of the house, but he contacted me to apologize and say, no, I will do it. But I already told him, no, I think it's not going to work out.
Yeah. Okay. What about in Japan? Do you have a lot of younger or child students?
I do.
Who are Japanese. And the family, the parents are very involved. And do they ever come to you and give you, some criticism about them not performing the way that they should, or?
No, because when you are teaching a kid, of course we teach kids I teach everybody the same, but no, when you teach a kid, you have to be very careful, right? Because a bad decision as a teacher can close doors in the future for that kid, because we don't know.
Can you explain that a little more? Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine that you get a kid that is really, really talented. He catches up things quickly. You are teaching him, and you decide, I'm not going to teach him how to read, because me as a teacher, I don't think it's important, and I don't read very well. I don't know how to teach it very well, so I'm just going to teach him tablature, play some chords, and then this kid grows up, and there is a time where he becomes 17 years old, and he wants to go to Berkeley, or he wants to go to a very important music school, and he can't read, right? So your decision at that time, when he was very young, is affecting his life later. Or no, my kid just wants to have fun. How do you know? He wants to have fun now, but you don't know what he's going to do in the future. And it would be really sad if a kid that has been taking lessons since he's 5 years old has to take 2 extra years of lessons to get into the school he wants. Not only that, it's already too late. Mm-hmm. Right? Ideally, you should learn how to read before you are 10 years old, right? Ideally, but then you continue. You're going to learn how to read at 18. Yeah, you will get in. Are you going to be a good reader? Maybe if you work really hard, but normally you won't have that much time, not the same amount of time that you had when you were a kid.
So you would be more focusing on the music theory
In
when
what they
they're
need,
and
Jeremy,
what
in what
yeah,
they need.
but not like, you know, them kind of doing what they're really good at, right?
It,
Right.
we
Playing
always,
what they're
as a
playing.
teacher, we will
Yeah.
always try to help them with what they are best. But if they are, but they still need other things. We have to focus on what they need,
Yeah.
right? If you want to make a career in music, you need certain things. Everybody knows these things. Everybody that makes a career in music knows that. Of course, it doesn't happen all the time. Some people don't know theory, they don't know how to read, and they make a career. It's fine, right? But does it happen all the time? No. So we basically, what I do is I do it in a very fun way. I can explain things really easily, and the kids get it. Some of them don't. Some of them they get it later. Some of them soon. All the kids are different. But if, of course, if I see a kid that is really good at something, I'm gonna help him developing that. But can you make an example of that? Like, for example, if they are very good at.
No, I mean, they just might want to focus on a certain style or something like
That's
that,
fine. That's fine.
or imitating or replicating, a great guitarist,
I mean,
like
yeah.
like Van Halen or whatever, or Eric Clapton or something like that, or they might be really and they might be really good at that kind of style of music.
Okay. So when you are 5 years old,
Yeah. Maybe not at 5 years old, but when they get a little bit older, when they're
Well,
8 to 9 or 10, maybe they
even
can,
when they are,
yeah.
I mean, when you are 5, you receive instruction,
Mhm.
right? And they don't know what to expect. They don't know what is easy. They don't know what is hard, right? Those things, they are developed later. We think about, oh, this is too hard for me. Why? Because you failed at something similar before.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean it's hard for you. Maybe you did it wrong. So if you start at a certain age, they don't know what is easy, what is hard. You present them this as what it is. And then they
Right.
grow up and they know theory. They know how to read. They know how to, they basically probably have a great ear, so they can transcribe music really easily. That's a
And
great advantage.
when you were 5, or when you started your music journey, the education was very multifaceted, right?
I had great teachers.
Yeah.
They basically gave me what I needed. At that time, talking about 70, in the 80s, the teachers will do what they do and you follow. That's it. But things have changed a little bit.
Well, yeah.
Right? And as I said, a 5-year-old kid doesn't have any expectation, doesn't know anything. You're just basically going to sit there and you say, oh, this is actually the notes. You have to learn them. Okay. So he will learn them. Then if he wants to play blues, be Van Halen, play classical, not up to me. But at least in the first period of his learning, he had the right tools.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. So if you started, for example, learning music at the age of 10 instead of the age of 5, do you think that your progression would have been much different?
I don't know. I probably. I used to have a teacher. I don't remember exactly who said that, but he said, ideally you need to learn the notes before you are 10. You need to learn theory and before you are 20, learn all the theory on the how to read and everything, because reading is not especially in the guitar, it's not one thing that you practice 2 years and you're done. It's an ongoing thing forever, right? And then then when you are 30, you should be playing music, playing gigs, learning by experience, transcribing, keep studying maybe high level theory, more advanced concepts, and then by 40, congratulations, you are an average musician,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So basically,
Which is very average, right? Which is very normal. Right?
so yeah, if I started at 5, I think when you are 5, music, it's hard to tell an age, right? I was a little bit of a slow learner.
Late
for
bloomer.
other
Late
things.
bloomer is what they say.
But I will say that I see a small difference between students that have been studying music since they are 5 properly, it becomes more like a language, unless than some, like they use it in a more natural way. They can do it at 10 too, and I'm sure there are some people even 17. They can start studying music at 17, and they can become that with hard work.
Yeah, that's kind of related to my next question, because most prodigies, right, or people who are really great at music, they start when they're very, very young, right? But have you ever encountered during your teaching a student who was a bit older, who just, they were really good, and you said to them, why didn't you start learning earlier? Yeah.
Have I?
I would imagine that those cases are few and far between, but I'd find it hard to believe that it's not there.
I have met and taught amazingly talented kids. But an adult, I remember one case from the top of my head. That was somebody contacted me for a student that was 15 years old. He wanted to be more involved in music, but I told him I was pretty booked, and I'm like, I don't. 15 years old is a bit late for what I do, right? And if I had the time, of course, I would teach him. But if not, I'm sorry. I would recommend you someone else. She insisted, no, I want you to come over here and teach him, and he will do very well. Okay, so I will go and meet him. So I went to the house. I meet the kid. He was like 14, 15 at that time. I don't remember. And in 2 years, he was playing guitar. I think less, a year and a half. He was playing guitar. He joined the jazz band of his school, and he was doing music regularly. He super talented? I don't know. Was he a prodigy? Definitely not. But he had a lot of talent, and he was a hardworking kid.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. I mean, if they're passionate about it, then it can lead to great things, right? It might not lead to them being really famous, but maybe they can do something with it, right? So in Japan, like you mentioned, Berkeley School of Music, which everybody knows, right? But in Japan, is there? I mean, I guess there's definitely not an equivalent, but are there good music schools that
I think so.
that would prepare musicians for stardom or for big jumps?
I don't. I only know a few of schools here. They're like semongakus, right? So, music is like everything, right? You can go to school, but the school is not going to make you better. The school is mainly a network. You go to school, you meet all the people that is going to grow with you, and that after you finish, they're gonna be your mates, your friends, your co-workers, right? Same years up and down. You're gonna be that group of people is going to be like your family, right? The school is not only for curriculum, right? The curriculum is the person itself. If you go to a school and you're very, very talented and you're really curious and you work really, really hard, it doesn't matter what school you go to. You can get private lessons with 5 teachers in town, and you will be as good as you will be if you went to a school, or better. And it will be cheaper, but you won't have a network.
I see. Yeah. So the Berkeley School of Music would be really good for networking.
Absolutely.
Right? I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there are people that went to Berkeley that they are not doing music now, and there are people that went to Berkeley that are very, very successful musicians. But that's depending on the person and because people think I go to school and I'm done. This is not like studying something. Well, very few disciplines you can study that end when you finish your studies, right, in the university. But music starts when you finish school. You finish school and then you start practicing everything that you did there until you become better at it.
Yeah. So you are currently talking about schools anyway. You're working at an international school.
I work for international schools. Yeah.
International schools, right? Yeah.
Yes.
We don't have to name any of them, but that's obviously it's a different environment, right?
A little bit different, yes.
Yeah. No, do you teach in a classroom?
I work for 3 international schools, and I'm considered. They used to call it peripatetic teacher. Now they call us specialist teachers, and it's basically a school has a music program, and within that music program they have professional players and teachers that have accumulated experience for a long time, and they basically give support to these schools. For example, we have a clarinet teacher, we have a trumpet teacher, French horn trumpet, we have a guitar teacher, we have a bass teacher, and every instrument has a specialist. So if the school needs a kid if the kid wants to study an instrument, they will have that person to do it, right? So you have to basically go through an interview and show that you can teach the kids well and everything, because it's different than a professional school. You're teaching international schools, and professional schools are not the same, right?
Right.
It's not a meritocracy, basically. If you go to a school, the students get the good spots. In international schools, it's all the same.
I see. Do you get along with your colleagues at the school, at the international school?
Oh,
because, yeah.
Absolutely. They are.
International schools seem to be really, tight, kind of like.
So we have a team that was in one of the most important international schools in Tokyo, and that team is so solid that we have been asked to work for other schools as well. We work well together. We know each other for over 15 years, so yeah, it's actually very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. So moving on from the teaching side, the boring side. Sorry, it's not boring. I shouldn't say that. But let's talk about your performing career, if you'd like to call it that. So, I mean, you do a lot of gigs. So you do a lot of collaborations with musicians.
Yeah.
Some musicians I know. How important is that in your life though? Because it seems like teaching. And correct me if I'm wrong, teaching is more of is making a living, right? But it's also, but at the same time, a passion, right? But what about performing though? What?
So it's a balance.
Yeah.
Right. So if I taught every day 10 lessons, I will probably get burned out at some point. If I play 10 gigs a week, every week, I will get burned out at some point, right? I will be like, I want to do something else, right? So as a musician, I think we have to do everything. We have to do gigs, we have to teach, we have to record, we have to produce, we have to be a band leader, we have to be a session player. We have to do everything, and that's what I try to do. It makes my life happier. It's really fun, because some months I have 8 gigs. Mm-hmm. I normally get hired for these gigs. I also run a jam session once a month for people to come over and play. It's basically like a working event. And I work with other people's jam sessions at other people's jam sessions as well. But and sometimes it's a source of income that is pretty decent. So it's not, for me, it's not only about the where the money comes from. It's just basically to keep a balance between performing, teaching, recording, being creating my own projects, being part of somebody else's project, right?
Yeah. Which
is actually very, very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, you're certainly involved in a lot of different genres. So I mean, you're doing jazz, but you do a little bit of blues, and you do hard rock as well.
And metal, yeah.
And
progressive metal, yeah.
And pretty much everything, right? So, is there? We'll talk about what you're focusing on exactly in a second. But is there something that you really prefer? Is there a genre that you prefer? Because I always thought when I first met you, I thought you were more involved in jazz and kind of like or like acoustic, and not like hard rock, or that area.
I don't know. I think like I just for some time I studied music so hard that I got to study things that you normally don't study, and and apply them to my playing, put them into my playing, right? But I will consider myself mainly like a blues fusion guitar player. And then if I have to do a gig playing jazz, I can fake it.
Gotcha. Views, I'm not, I'm not a musician and I'm not so educated on music. But can you explain what blues fusion is? So what is fused into blues?
Well, if you listen blues, like the blues, everybody can hear traditional blues and say, "Oh, this is traditional blues," right? Blues fusion or blues rock will have a little bit of a twist, right? Different chord progressions, more sophisticated, or even they all come from the same place, right? We use jazz chords into those, so and also it brings kind of pop and other styles into it, right? So blues, traditional blues, everybody understands what it is, right? But when you listen to people like Michael Landau, Scott Henderson, there is a lot of blues in their playing, but what they are playing is not blues.
Gotcha.
Jimmy Herring, these guys that they're basically blues players with a twist, right?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Just talking about guitarists in Japan, like, can you name any Japanese guitarists who are really good, like, are really like globally well known, who you would say are like genuinely great? Because I was researching it, like, and I was on YouTube and I was listening to a bunch of guys, and they all sounded like Iron Maiden, man. They didn't.
But
There wasn't blues. It was all fast kind of metal stuff. Or
yeah, I don't
yeah,
listen to that too much.
yeah.
But definitely they are great musicians in Tokyo. I don't know if they are famous or not. I don't really care about that.
Okay, yeah.
I have seen guitar players in Tokyo that have blown me away. Like I can tell you, Takenaka Shunji, for example. I went to one of his shows once. I follow everything he does after that. You have more soul guys, Hank Nishiyama. He plays with a soul that that will make your head spin, and I don't know many other like famous shredders or stuff. No, in Tokyo really.
Okay. Um, yeah, I mean, it's not really something that I'm really aware of, because I'm not like connected to musicians and not really to music. Actually, I love music, yeah, but I don't perform and I don't play, so I'm not really that kind of scene is a bit distant for me. But let's.
Didn't you sing with me once or twice?
Hmm?
Were you?
I don't remember that, but yeah, yeah.
I think I remember you on
was-
stage or something.
It was a while ago. Yeah, I was singing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll talk about that on a different podcast, like we suggested earlier.
Well, you did a great job.
We could. Yeah. Well, thank you. But let's talk about you, and let's talk about what you're working on as an artist, or what are you producing now?
At the moment, I'm kind of busy with teaching, and I have some regular gigs. I play with a band called Quilombo, which is like a Latin band. I still doing the events, jam sessions once a month. And the first project I have is actually to put together a band, but that will be for the next year, because now is peak time for venues to be booked. So September to December, all the venues I could actually use are booked. So I will be aiming for a big show probably in May, June. And one of the things I want to do, that I have been actually wanting to do for a long time, is to put together something that is, bring my own gear. I'm a kind of a gear freak, right? So
I've noticed that.
I have good equipment that I want people to enjoy, like as an experience. So I will probably carry it, drag it to the venue, get good musicians and play with them some of my own music. But one of the things I'm trying to do is to bring my students to perform as well. With
Okay.
us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So that will probably happen in May, June next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. Plenty of time to plan for that.
Yeah, I have things going on. I have gigs lined up until December, so not too much time to be doing it. I have 2 kids too, right? So
A lot going on. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So, you know, I probably know the answer to this question, but I mean, you have a family in Japan, yeah. But and you've been here for a while. But if you had an opportunity to do more things abroad, you know, it could be long term or it could be like on a project basis. Like where would you like to go?
Wow. I think I would like to go to do things back home.
Yeah.
You know, back home where
In Spain or in the Canary Islands or
both,
yeah, both.
both back home. I think it will
Which-
be something that I will be. You know, my I left when I was 25, 26, and my mother passed away last December, and she never got to see me perform in Spain, right? So my father is still alive, right? And I would like my parents and and all the friends that like family that I have there to see me play there more than having projects anywhere else. Of course, the States still fascinate me. I really enjoy my life there, and I would love to do something there at some point. But probably I will go for. I always been thinking about doing a recording there and bringing it to Japan, but
in the
more
States or back in Spain?
in California.
In California.
Because in California you can get good players, make a nice recording of your music, and just have that, right? Which we can discuss also the benefits of recording music nowadays. But
Yeah, we'll save that for later. Yeah. This can be a series.
But
I think absolutely this one could be a long series.
yeah,
probably.
but I would love to do it.
Yeah.
I think as a musician, what you have to do is to create music, even if you don't get paid for it. But you still have to do it.
That's right. Yeah. Well, Alberto, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
You're very
today.
welcome.
It's
Thank you
been
for
a
having me.
pleasure. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.